Welcome to the Tiger Nexus Podcast, a place where you'll find interviews with content creators and geeks alike. Your host, Tiger, has delved upon the Nexus and found interesting content creators and geeks of all fandoms. This podcast is connected to the Zero Hero Network. And now we dive in with another episode!
Hello everybody and welcome to the Tiger Nexus podcast. I'm of course your host, Tiger. Today's guest, you may know if you're a fan of Yu-Gi-Oh! And you like watching people play the trading card game live on TikTok. He's also a big cosplayer. He's also an inspiration of mine because he does a lot of out of the, using the closet clothes, and he kind of makes his own OCs. It's very cool. Today's guest is Ghostgalaxycosplay. How are you today, bro?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me on the podcast.
It's been one of mine for a while, but you are always busy and always dueling people.
It's a hard life. I need to get a secretary.
You need to get a secretary. I like that. What you say, secretary? But would to get the job, would they duel you, or would they be interviewed by you? That's the question. If they can beat you on a duel, do they get the job?
That is a good question. I'd say the duel would probably be like part of the interview process.
That's a fair interview process. So first question, what got you into doing TikTok in general?
It's actually a really funny story, and it's kind of like a personal life thing. But I've told so many people that it really doesn't matter anymore. Basically, back in 2020, we obviously went into the lockdown for the first time, which means my last year of secondary school got cut off, essentially. And I had some really controlling and really strict foster parents. So I said, screw you. I'm going to start cosplaying. And I utilized TikTok to start that as a sort of way to rebel, because I was due to move out anyways because of social services and stuff. But yeah, it was basically to just say, screw them.
I mean, that's fair. I respect that, to be honest. My parents, one of them's over controlling, and one of them lives 180 miles away and only sees me when it benefits him. So I understand that.
Yeah.
So now you're at a point where you go live, you duel people live, and your cosplays are really good. I actually really enjoy your cosplays. TikTok has this restriction where you can only go live if you've reached 1,000 followers. So what was you doing up to the point before you could go live?
Oh, that's like 3.5 years ago. We're going back. So in June of 2021, I moved out of my foster parents' house into supported living. And that was my first sense of sort of like the real world and like real world money. I was still going to college, but like I had to get myself a job and stuff. But I started off with My Hero Academia cosplays. Those were really bad back then. Don't go and find them because I despise them. I think there was one point in time where a mutual of mine who cosplayed a sibling of the character that I was cosplaying saved a bunch of my videos to duet, and I was like, what? Why is someone saving all these old videos? I don't like this. So I went and deleted them. And then I felt really bad, so I got in contact with the mutual, and I was like, I'm really sorry, I just really don't like these videos. So it was a lot of just like trial and error with like different types of cosplays. A lot of My Hero Academia to start with, and then I started to slowly branch off into other things. And then by I think about September time, I was already at like 5,000 followers.
Damn.
Yeah. And then it just kept climbing from there. And then in early 2022, about I think January time it might have been, I don't know. Time's a blur. But I ended up finding Max Level and Mobron, two of the OG Dualtainers from the Dualtainer Network, which is the community that I'm a part of for the live duelings. And back then, it was just a small group of people. I started in the summer of 2022, and my friend Janks joined me along with that. And back then, we would reach like 1,000 viewers per live stream, 10,000 even, if we got really lucky. Now, there's so many live duelists that I can barely break 100 viewers because of what's happened in the community.
You started your own pandemic of live streamers.
Literally, it is so overpopulated that we can't have the success that we had in the OG days.
See, I find that though, because like you said that you started your TikTok back in COVID times, and you reached 5,000 pretty quick, cosplaying as well, and I find the whole COVID time, people were either bored or, stuck indoors or whatnot. And TikTok was just an outreach for people, wasn't it? As a way to escape the negativity of the world. And cosplaying does really well anyway. Cosplay do 67, his son, Mark the Quantum Ranger, you. There's a lot of cosplayers out there that manage. Okay, maybe you're not getting all the numbers you want, but cosplaying does really good, and there's definitely other cosplayers that I follow who they do a 10-second video of them doing a jump cut to a cosplay, and they get the views for it, and it's just like cosplay does well anyway. And then, like you said, it's a small community, and you're doing these lives. And by the way, 1,000 to 10,000—that's mental. By the way, so well done on that. That was that's insane numbers.
That was back in the OG days when it was just like 5 of us. Now you've got 1K, 2K nobodies who are able to go live and thinking that they can just do dualtaining. Like, obviously they can do dualtaining, but they're not entertaining.
Yeah.
It's like you can do something, but you're not doing it good.
Yeah.
And you're harming our numbers.
So, explain, because some people may not understand. What do you mean by dualtaining? What do you mean by that? The whole, you're going live and you're playing Yu-Gi-Oh, but there's more to it. So, like, what do you mean by dualtaining for those who may not understand what you're talking about?
So, dualtaining was a term introduced in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc V anime, and basically, it's a way to play the card game, but also keep the crowd and viewers engaged and like really hyped up. So we kind of adopted the term dualtainer from the anime, because we are entertaining a lot of people. Like, when you look at the numbers, 100 viewers doesn't look like a lot, but if you put yourself, your opponent, and 100 viewers into one room, that's quite a lot of people.
Yeah.
But the whole live dueling stuff has gone through many stages of development, because the Dualtainer Network and Max and Mobron have been working on the format that we play, which now has the name Dualtainer format, for 4 years. So the way I like to think of it is you've got them starting out with Max and MX Danica Stevens back in 2021. Back then I didn't know of them because that just wasn't my TikTok algorithm at the point. Then summer of 2022 is when me and Janks came in. So I like to call that the Jank section, because I was still like learning the format and the format was still like developing. Then you've got the Christmas period of 2022 from November to January. That was just me and Janks and a few others that we brought on ourselves. So that's what we call the OG days. That was like when our numbers were the highest.
So,
Then
sorry, go on.
No, go on.
I was just going to ask. So you call it OG, and you're one of them. Are all of the OGs still doing the whole Dutainer live streams, or are they not so involved now because they're, making this basically a platform for people?
Yeah. So we had a few of them leave. Let's see. James Sumner 101 was a fellow Brit that I brought on personally. But he retired in like early 2024, I think. And now he just like focuses on his YouTube channel. He's been doing a lot of like magic and Doctor Who stuff.
Fair.
Then we've got our artist friend Scarlet Sakari. He took a major step back from the Dualtainer network itself, and the format that we play, because of personal reasons, which I think were quite dumb. Basically, his favorite decks were Heroes and Dark Magician, but Heroes and Dark Magician, being two legacy decks, obviously get a bunch of crazy support over the years because Konami wants that money.
Yeah.
So with the system that we have in place to keep the format balanced, a lot of the hero cards and Dark Magician cards have been tiered. So you can't play specific cards, and we also have a ban list, and there's ban cards. So he took a step away from that because he wasn't happy that his cards were getting hit. And he's just kind of doing his own thing. I think he's on a Jujutsu Kaisen phase right now. Yeah. But myself, Janks, Mikey, and even MX Danica Stevens, Mobron, and Max are still doing it when we can.
So, one thing I like, because I'll watch you quite a lot, to be fair, when I can at least, is you guys kind of portray a very anime sort of atmosphere to your lives. If you lose life points, you kind of act out getting hurt, kind of like they do in the Yu-Gi-Oh anime, and like you're very I don't want to use the word over dramatic, but I guess that's the right word to use. Let's say you get a monster to attack, you'll over dramatize the command and things. You're very anime-esque. What kind of brought that into fruition?
The whole entertainment side of it, honestly, because the current TCG for Yu-Gi-Oh! And the TCG at the time of me joining the Dualtainer network was very boring, and like it was long turns of effect after effect after effect. And you just don't get to play the game in the current TCG. Whereas on the lives with the dual discs and the format, we are having fun. We are playing the game. I also think having the dual disc just adds to the entertainment, because it's like that one thing that you wanted as a child now having in your possession and being able to use it.
Yeah.
So it's all for the entertainment, because nobody's gonna tune into a live stream where someone's going, I attack with blue eyes white dragon and you
Yeah.
take 3,000 points of damage. Because that is just boring. What you want is, and now my monster will obliterate your life points. And then you add like an insult on the end if you if you me. If you me. Nobody else can do it like me.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's actually one of the reasons why I started following in the first place, actually, because, I'm watching, I don't know who you were dueling at the time, but, I'm watching you two duel, and you're over dramatic, you're emphasizing on certain things. I was like, hey, I'm basically watching live action anime here. Like, fuck let's go.
Yeah.
I just think it's a lot of fun, to be fair. With your, because your handle name is Ghostgalaxycosplay. You've kind of brought a lot of your, your cosplays that you're doing now kind of reflect the whole dualtainer. You've got a good couple of duelers as cosplay Joe C's. What's it like, kind of bringing your own ideas into a format like dualtainers? Because you've got people like cosplay dude like Mark the Corner Range, they're bringing their characters to life, yeah, sure, but you're actually doing something, you're entertaining people. What's that been like?
It's been a lot of fun, and it's been a massive excuse to just have a collection of cool jackets. I feel like General Grievous with the amount of jackets I've got.
That is great.
And the jacket just gives you a sense of almost like an ego boost in a way, because not only you've got the dual disc, you've got the deck that you played for years, the deck that you know so well, you could recite it blindfolded or something.
Yeah. So,
And
who was your first OC that you brought into dualtainers?
uh that is a good question. Originally, it started off with Jordan Flanagan.
What a name.
Yeah. Because back then, I was less. I had less of an ego. Because I was still finding my ground, let's say. And I still had in my head that like Slifer Red was the best dorm and stuff. So I was like, okay, what if I take this character, give them a sibling that's like 3 years older than, or like 4 years older, and it sort of worked, but it wasn't working enough. And then, I watched Sword Art Online Alicization, and basically adopted almost every trait that Yu-Gi-Oh has, before sort of like coming out of my shell and becoming the snobby rich kid vibed obelisk. Obviously, I'm broke as fuck. But like, that's what kind of like birthed Soma Misawa as a character. Yu-Gi-Oh's jacket just looks so cool, and it feels so cool to wear. And it honestly just started off with the jackets. Once the jacket was there, the character came.
Yeah, that's fair. A lot of times when I talk to people at OCs, they kind of say something similar. You know, they all get a a jacket or something that goes on their head, or they'll get a piece of an item that goes to the cosplay, and then the character kind of rolls with it. Because how many duelist OCs do you have?
Technically, just the one being Soma, but he's got different versions of himself. So there's Obelisk Blue Soma, which is like the original. There's Pro Duelist Soma. There's Dr. Soma Misawa with his PhD in dueling as a callback to Dr. Crowler. There's Soma Noir. That's with the black jacket and a more edgy approach, kind of like a Shadow-esque character. And then there's Chaos Soma. Those are like the 5 main Somas, and then you've got like random Somas that got introduced through events and storylines that people introduced to the dualtaining.
Well, I mean, technically speaking, for those who don't know, I've actually also kind of put Soma into something. You also voice acted as the character. So I did a crossover of all my Marvel and DC storylines, and I kind of wanted to have a couple characters that were just there for the crossover. They don't need any explanation. They don't need any, no exploration or anything. And I'm one of these people that when I write stories, I like to push boundaries, and I like to do things that logically in comic books won't make any fucking sense. But shut up, you're listening to a fanfiction audio drama and deal with it type of stuff. And so I brought Soma into my universe, and he has a dual disc and he has Yu-Gi-Oh cards, but he uses the Reality Stone from Marvel to bring him to life. And when the monsters get destroyed, it hurts him because the Reality Stone works with the person who's using it, and Soma truly believes that he's not in the life of Yu-Gi-Oh, but he truly believes he's using the card, so the Reality Stone kind of makes that almost reality. So like if a monster gets destroyed, he'll get hurt, like physically hurt, and stuff like that. So for a little time we actually had Soma saving the world with a bunch of superheroes. I just thought it was fun. It was an interesting idea. I ran with it, and he actually was a part of the ending of the crossover as well. He was a part of the way that it ended, and yeah, I just you voice acted him as well. I just thought it was a nice little thing to do. To be fair,
Yeah.
so you've even got Soma in fan fictions now.
Yeah.
You also write stories, don't you?
I do, yeah.
What got you into writing?
That is a tough one. I think just like wanting to like experiment with like different ideas was kind of like the drive to it. And I've like written stories in the past, but they've never been like anything crazy good. But once Soma was kind of like established as what we call a dual Sona now, I was like, okay, let's give this guy a bit more flesh, a bit more backstory. So I started off with Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, the Fairy Master, in 2022-ish. Or was it 2023? I think it may have been 2023. But that kind of went downhill. I wasn't enjoying writing it, and we were like 16 chapters in with like half the chapters being filler that just didn't need to be there. So then I went to Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, The Life of an Obelisk Blue. And that one started off good, but I rushed in too quickly. So I ended up running out of ideas. So that one's on pause until I can figure out exactly what I want to do with that one. Because it's kind of hard for me to write something interesting that happens at a school that already explains what it does. It's a school that teaches them how to play Yu-Gi-Oh, or in this case, Duel Monsters. So with that on pause, I've turned to Chaos Soma as a character because he's got much more like intertwining and interesting lore, and there's bits that I can branch off to. So that's currently being drafted up. I'm waiting for my editor to provide that feedback. But he's a busy person, so it can wait.
Ah, yes, relying on others. It can be a slow process.
It can, yeah.
Yeah, I've read some of the stuff you've written. I've enjoyed it. Me and you are actually working on turning one of your stories into an audio drama for Tiger Tales, aren't we? Which will be early 2025 now.
Yeah.
But we're gonna be turning one of your stories into an audio drama, which will be a lot of fun. And so you've done a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. Is that your favorite out of the animes?
Yes, GX is the one that clicked with me pretty much instantly. Jaden as a protagonist is everything that you need. You're able to grow with Jaden as he experiences the things that he experiences. And by the time of season 3, he's become such an in-depth protagonist. That he's just so much better than like Yugi or Yusei or any of the other protagonists, honestly. Like Jaden is the number one protagonist in terms of character development.
Yeah, I think GX is really cool. I grew up on the original. When GX came out, I was kind of sat there thinking, is it gonna work without Yugi? And then I think by like the second episode, I was like, yeah, this works. I enjoy this.
Yeah.
um,
Obviously they give Yugi that cameo in the first episode. But after that he doesn't really appear. But like GX just has so many things that it can and has done. That it just really like spoke out to me as a series.
I think something else that GX does really well is, if you look at the because the whole appeal to Yu-Gi-Oh is the duel monsters. Let's be honest, it's the cards itself. It's trying to sell the cards. With the Fire series, I feel like there are certain cards everybody knows. Dark Magician, Blue Eyes, Red Eyes, Time Wizard. Everyone knows certain cards. But I feel like with Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, people know decks more because they did the whole, each character has their own. Well, most of the characters then have their own singular deck. Jaden is the elemental hero guy. You've got Crystal Beasts and things like this. And I feel like they did a better job at selling whole decks than just individual cards, if that makes sense.
Yes, definitely 100%. GX has done so well with decks that Ancient Gears, Cyber Dragons, and Heroes have become, and Crystal Beasts actually, because they did recently get a structure deck and and it's quite good. Those are like the 4 main archetypes from GX that everybody knows and have probably played at some point. Then you've got the more obscure archetypes like Chaz with his armed dragons and Ojamas. You've got Cyrus and his Vehicroid monsters. They're always funny to take into machine decks for dumb plays. We got our first look at an actual dinosaur deck in Season 2 of GX with Tyranno Hasselberry, rather than Raptor's Duelist Kingdom pile of dinosaurs and a random Red Eyes.
Yeah, that didn't make any sense.
Like, yeah, he goes and upgrades his deck in Season 4 of Duel Monsters, but that's also the Orichalcos arc, which is not canon in technicality. So, in terms of canon, Tyranno Hasselberry was the first dinosaur duelist that made a good dinosaur deck.
Yeah. I feel like when it comes to like artwork and the cards themselves, I feel like GX also gave us some of the best looking like designs and things. This is gonna sound really, really stupid, but as a kid, I was absolutely obsessed with the Crystal Beasts. And then a friend traded me my first Roid, which was Ambulance Rescue Roid, I think it was called.
Yeah,
I could be wrong. Is there an Ambulance Rescue Roid? Am I right there?
you are. Yeah,
Right,
it's a fusion monster if I remember correctly.
Yeah. I was gonna say because it was a fusion, and I don't know. I just really like the artwork for it. I mean, it's goofy. It's an ambulance with eyes that looks like it could absolutely batter you in a boxing ring, but it's fucking awesome, man.
Yeah, I will admit the Crystal Beasts are a really cool set of cards, and the fact that Jesse in the series was the only one to have them, and there was only one copy, like ever, was really cool. GX was really good at making cards and decks personalized to the characters. Like, you had Zane and his Cyber Dragons. Zane was the only one to have Cyber Dragon. Specifically, 3 copies of Cyber Dragon. The only duelist in GX up until Season 4 to have 3 copies of a monster in the deck, which was, following the rules of the TCG. But then we get to Season 4 of GX, which never got dubbed and should definitely get dubbed. I don't see why we haven't done it yet. And Crowler puts 3 Ancient Gear Golems on the field.
Yeah.
So yeah, GX just did a really good job with how the duels were played. The duels made sense to an extent. And the characters were fleshed out pretty well.
I also feel like GX did really well because, yes, I understand the whole, it's a trope that happens, and I really hate this, where you have the first thing of a franchise, and because it's the first, because it's the original, everyone has to love it, and anything else is just crap in comparison. Power Ranger does it, Yu-Gi-Oh does it, Pokemon, everything does it. And, everyone loves Yugi as their protagonist. Everyone loves, the first series and stuff. And yes, it's great. I'm not saying it's not, but I feel like GX made the game a bit more, understandable and relatable because, you have Yugi with the whole heart of the cards shenanigans, and you can always draw the right card at the right second, and all that, that sort of like story trope that Yugi, well, okay, it's not always Yugi, it's the Pharaoh, but you know what I meant.
Yeah.
And like, yes, okay, that's cool and all, but it's not believable, if that makes sense. GX did the whole thing of, hey, they're kids, they're in school, they're learning to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Yes, there's more to it than that, but that's your starting point. And so, like, they're all it's almost like anyone could be them. It's like, hey, we could be these kids technically, and I feel like there's
Yeah,
more relatable in that sense.
yeah. And the thing I like about GX is it's not just a Yu-Gi-Oh anime. It's not just playing card games to save the world. You've also got that slice of life element to the series that for some reason some people consider filler when it's not. Like season 1 starts off with the slice of life aspect. They're at a school on a remote island. What are they gonna do?
Yeah, see, I hate it when people are like, "Oh, this anime has loads of filler episodes," and I'm like, "Yeah, but does it though?" Like, if you want to learn more, if you want to delve into more into certain characters or see this character shine, you're gonna have to watch what you deem filler. Because like Naruto does it all. That people say Naruto has way too many fillers. I'm like, yes, but these air quote filler episodes has Naruto working with other characters that you're not gonna see that much of. You get to see him bond with other characters. You get to see him mingle with other characters, and also the bad guys they bring in are actually really cool in their own rights. And Yu-Gi-Oh does the same thing. And it's just like, yes, okay, there may be air quote filler episodes, but does that mean you can't enjoy them? So people just complain too much.
100%. And I think slice of life is definitely a genre of anime that draws me in. For example, I despise football with a passion. Because here in the UK, and I think you'll agree with me, people just like it's football this, football that, right?
Yep.
I sat down and watched Blue Lock.
Yeah.
Got through the entirety of the first season, absolutely loved it.
Fair.
It's an anime about football, and I liked it.
Yeah.
And it's just if something has a slice of life aspect that people consider filler, then yeah, they don't know what they're talking about.
So out of the Americanized, I'm going to use the word Americanized because they're the ones that were dubbed, Yu-Gi-Oh shows, obviously GX is your favorite. Which one do you think is the worst?
The worst one, Zexal.
Okay.
Now, people will get on my back about this because Zexal has a good story, but the voice that they gave the main protagonist Yuma is so damn annoying. Like I get it. In this series, they're in middle school, yeah. So no, they're gonna have annoying voices, but the rival shark has a normal like rival voice, whereas Yuma sounds like he's on helium.
Okay, so I will say this: Zaxel's actually one of my favorite seasons, but I will agree with you that I haven't finished Zaxel yet. I've got one season left. I think I could be wrong. And I will admit, I binged like the first 20 something. I got like through the first major arc in like 2.5 days, something like that. And then I got a couple filler episodes and all that jazz. I will admit, yeah, he does get a little bit annoying sometimes.
Yeah. And like people say just watch it in Japanese. It's better in the Japanese dub, which yes, I agree with. It is probably better in the Japanese dub. But I don't want to sit there and read subtitles while also trying to make sense of what's going on in a duel.
Yeah, I argue a lot with people like this because a lot of people are like, oh, to appreciate anime, you got to watch it subbed, and I'm like, no, you do realize the reason why they spend money on voice actors, spend the time with the voice actors to dub something, is so you don't have to read, right? Like that's the whole reason why they do it, and like. Okay, I can watch something subbed, but one ADHD brain, so that doesn't help me at all. But I don't know. I'd rather watch dubbed. Like you said, it's hard to read subtitles and pay attention to things. Um,
Yeah,
I much prefer dubbed over subbed any day.
100%. Yeah.
So with okay, so GX being your best, Zexal being your worst. How do you rank the others in between?
So my second favorite is Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains. That's when Link monsters were introduced.
Right, yeah.
And it was all like virtual reality, similar to Duel Links. Third would be Arc V, because of the storyline of it is really good. The characters are somewhat fleshed out. Then you've got returning legacy characters, which was cool to see. My fourth will have to be 5Ds. As much as I hate synchro summoning, 5Ds definitely would go in the fourth spot. With the fifth spot going to Duel Monsters. I personally think it's like really overrated, and I think that it takes too long for the duels to become duels. But obviously, like if I had watched it as a kid, I probably would appreciate it more. But since I've consumed most of Duel Monsters from roughly the age of 10-ish, to now, I just see Duel Monsters as the prototype, let's say. And all the shenanigans that go on, I'm just like, this is bullshit.
Yeah, a lot of people may not like us agreeing on that, but I do really appreciate Duel Monsters. I love certain characters in it. Some of the monsters, of course. But yeah, I kind of agree. It takes. I don't know. I think that's why I like GX and Zexal so much is because the duels are faster paced. The characters are more relatable. I just find them not so entertaining, but I just find it. Oh, I guess entertaining. Yeah, I guess entertaining is the right word. Yeah, I guess I just find them more entertaining. Don't get me wrong. I do appreciate it. And I understand that's like where it came from and everything. I appreciate Duel Monsters a lot, and I understand why people may think it's the best. But I can guarantee now there's going to be a few people listening to us right now talking about this and like blindly swearing at us.
Possibly,
I can already think of one or two people. um, but nah, like I don't know. I feel like when it came to Duel Monsters, they had interesting ideas. They had like good arcs, but I feel like they kind of struggled on kind of the surrounding of it all. Like they didn't know what to do between the arcs. They didn't exactly know how to portray their storylines properly. Um, I feel like there was a point where they should have just stopped and gone, "Oh, okay, right, that's our story done," sort of thing. I guess that's why so many people kind of gelled with GX. I think because obviously it's a kind of like a breath of fresh air.
yeah.
So you're dual-taning, and when I messaged you about coming on, we were talking about what days, and you said to me then on Saturday you would be up until 3 a.m. in the morning. So I'm just gonna assume you're dueling with someone that was like American or something.
No, so Saturday is the bi-weekly tournament night in the Dualtain Network Discord server that we do via webcam. And we have people sign up with like format legal decks, and they just play the game in a tournament setting with official tournament rules. And we basically use these tournaments to gain information about what decks are performing good in the format, what decks maybe need to be. Sorry, excuse me. What decks maybe need to be like unhit or hit more, and maybe to find ban cards as cards that need to be banned. It's all to balance out the format.
That sounds like a lot of work. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, all I've got to do is run the tournament, make sure all the scores are correct. But I'm not the only one who does it. Guru, who is also in the server, helps out a lot with the tournaments. We're both Brits, both up until early hours of the morning. For these Americans.
Goddamn Americans.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to deal with Americans a lot. There's like a good 6-hour time difference for a lot of them. So like
Yeah.
it can definitely be a bit strenuous on planning and all that stuff. But if you've got the time, a lot of when I talk to Americans about coming on the podcast, for example, they're like, "Oh, I can't come on until like 6-7 p.m. That's gonna be like 1 a.m. for you." And I'm just there. I just take a deep breath. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm used to it by now."
It's definitely hard to schedule in between time zones, because you've got Americans who are on the East Coast, which are only 5 hours behind us, which is kind of easy to work with. But then you've got the Central Time Zone, and they're like I think 8 hours behind us, and they drive me nuts. That one specifically like drives me nuts. My friend Mikey, LBB Yu-Gi-Oh, the guy I duel every Sunday, he's in that time zone, and literally Sunday is like the only time we get. And then he's just like at work for the rest of the week.
Yeah, see, like, I once had a Australian YouTuber on my podcast, and he's 8 hours ahead of me and you.
Mhm.
So he also had his editor on, and she was 2 hours ahead of me and you. So here I am sat at 12 o'clock in the afternoon with the Australian YouTuber who's like, 8-9 p.m. And then there was his editor who was sat here at like 2-3 p.m. for her. It was the most bizarre experience ever, knowing for the fact that I'm the one in the past time zone. I'm behind to compare to them for once. Like, it was so bizarre. Knowing for the first time, I like even Billy and Jim messaged me going, "I bet it was weird." I was like, "Yeah, it kind of was." I experienced being in the past. It was a bit odd.
Yeah.
But there is one particular cosplay I want to bring up to you, because when I saw you do this, it's actually one of the reasons why I thought to myself, "Hey, let's start cosplaying." You kind of inspired me, and that's your Silver cosplay. You've kind of like turned Silver the Hedgehog into a humanoid looking character. I kind of wanted to ask you about that, because I fucking love it, man. I think it's absolutely fucking ace. But what made you do a Silver the Hedgehog, but not a hedgehog?
Well, the not hedgehog part is due to resources and limited skills. I can't style a wig for the life of me.
Same.
As for what made me do the Silver cosplay, That's from the dark times of dual tanning. Back when uh you know who was around.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. He's the one who suggested I make the cosplay. And I tried my best, honestly. I really did try. I think it was just like the wig part. It could have looked more like Silver's quills. But yeah, I tried my best. I might bring it back at some point. I don't know.
I fought with it hard, man. I thought it was class. Like I said, because I'm new to the whole cosplay thing. I've only officially got 3 cosplays under my belt. My household is about to come into a little bit more income, so I'm hoping to start kind of like putting money aside to get more cosplays. I have an anime character who I want to cosplay as, and I'm also kind of mostly because I really want to piss off TikTok because I know for a fact that if I do this one particular cosplay, TikTok will one ransack me like no fucking tomorrow and drag me into the ground. But 2, I'll piss off so many people. There's a particular character I really want to gender bend. It's a girl, but I want to do it as a guy, and I just know for a fact I'll piss off so many people, and that just brings me so much pleasure to the world. So, but I've got Rock Lee set up. I want to cosplay as Rock Lee from Naruto.
Yeah.
I'm also in the works of doing a Sasuke one because cosplay do 6v7 cosplays as Kakashi and his son cosplays as Naruto. And I was like, well, Sasuke is my favorite character. His voice actor is one of my favorite voice actors. Fuck it, let's do Sasuke. And I already cosplay as Ben 10 and Spider Man, so I've already got 2 other characters that you're alone full voices. So I thought, why not? So I've got a few in the works.
Yeah.
But with a child, it kind of the 5-year-old hinders.
I I can't relate, but I can imagine. Yeah. I think I tried doing a Datara cosplay like way back in 2022. I might try that again. Um, considering what I get next paycheck. But I am planning to do a Starscream cosplay.
Ooh, okay, intriguing. How,
Yeah.
how do you how do you figure to do that one?
Uh I've seen quite a few reference videos, and basically it just seems to be like white jeans, a red like waistcoat, a tie, and like the wings with the Decepticon symbol. Maybe white boots too, but black boots could probably work also. Um, but it all depends on what I get. Uh, come the 29th of November and what I need to plan for, because Christmas and all that.
Oh yes, Christmas. God, I love Christmas. There is one particular thing that I've always been intrigued, confused, and I love it all at the same time. Can you explain the whole Turtle Empire thing?
Okay. We've recently had a rebrand to just the Sum of Us,
Right, okay.
because the Discord server that was made for said Turtle Empire is an absolute, no pun intended, ghost town. It is so quiet in there, and it sucks.
Yeah.
But basically, the monster electromagnetic turtle is my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh monster.
Okay.
So it started off with the phrase "turtle draw" being a sort of branch off from my signature darkness draw.
Yeah.
And then they just said, "Yeah, we're gonna make it an empire." The chat at the time was like, yeah, Turtle Empire, that's what we're going to be from now on. And it was like that for a solid year and a half. I only just rebranded it recently to just the Somaverse.
That I love that. That's great. Where did Darkness Draw come from?
Darkness Draw came from a duel between me and Max way back in the OG days. Like I think September time. And basically I made this speech. And I ended it with Darkness Draw. And it just kind of stayed.
I mean, yeah, that's usually the way it goes. I find sometimes if you can say something or do something, or something becomes a phrase or a saying, and sometimes it will come from, like you said, it literally just came off the end of the speech you gave. I mean, if people gel with it, just roll with it, innit?
Yeah.
So if people go through your TikTok, they'll see a lot of like artwork done. There's like a lot of pictures of Soma and stuff. Are they other people's drawings? Are they your drawings?
I think the majority of them are my drawings. I'm not sure if I've posted anyone else's art and like tagged them. But a majority of them are my drawings. I try my best. But it takes a while for the ideas to go to the to the hand.
Oh no, I was gonna say I'll fuck with it. I draw. I'm not the greatest. I have so many people like comment on my YouTube art channel, and they're like, "Oh, you can't draw," and I'm like, "You do realize, right? Within the first 60 seconds of the YouTube video, I specifically state I'm not a good artist. You don't think I know this, you moron?"
It's
Like,
honestly it's honestly ridiculous to see the sort of like comments people put under art posts, because you'll get the people who are like, yo, this is so cool, and then you'll get the people saying it's like trash, and others are just like, ew, no.
what has been like the worst comment you've gotten?
You don't want to know.
Oh, okay. That bad, huh?
Yeah, that bad.
Jesus.
It's crazy to think how many vile comments TikTok just let through, but as soon as you post a clown emoji uh to someone's comment section, no, your comment gets flagged, but the guy saying the N-word gets a pass, do they?
Yeah, no, TikTok is so bad for that sort of stuff. I've actually had to like figure out how to word some of my responses just so TikTok lets it go. Because like ask anyone, I'm a foul mouth son of a bitch sometimes. And if I can't be bothered to make a video response, because sometimes I do, so like I keep getting comments of people like saying, give up on all this, and go fill the bag full of fries. And my response to that is, I'll fill the bag full of fries when your mother opens her mouth. But originally it was a lot more 18 rating, I'll put it that way. But TikTok kept on flagging my comments. I was like, fuck's sake, stop it, TikTok. They're literally like hassling me. So I was like, okay, I need to reword it. So now it's that simple. But like I've had people threaten to come to my house. Obviously, they're not gonna. They don't know where the fuck I live. But like, I've had people threaten to come to my house. I've had people telling me they're like doing my missus and shit like this. And TikTok just lets it happen. I'm like, TikTok, what the fuck is wrong with you?
It is really crazy to see the sort of comments that TikTok let through.
Do you ever get like comments? I'm curious because I get these comments. Do you ever get comments where people are like, "Oh, it's a game made for kids," or "It's a show made for kids"?
I do get those sometimes, but the most common one I get is Pokemon is better.
Oh wow. Okay.
And I try to explain to them that every TCG has its benefits. I love playing Commander in Magic. I love playing casual Pokemon TCG with the cards that I've got in my collection. I love playing Dual Tainer formats specifically for Yu-Gi-Oh! But then you'll get these guys that are just bricked up on one game and think it's the best thing and anything else is just trash, and you try and tell them everybody is entitled to their opinion, but at the end of the day, it's a card game. It's like the PlayStation versus Xbox fucking argument. It's a console. They do the same thing.
See, I get all these arguments constantly, right? Because I play all three consoles: PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo. And everyone always says to me, "Hey, what's your which one do you play the most?" I'm like, "Well, I played the PlayStation the most, but that's only because I have more games on it." And they're like, "Okay, so what's your favorite?" I'm like, "Well, they all play games. Like, granted, they all have benefits, hence why I have one of each. But like, I don't really have a favorite." And like, I've had people talk to me. You said that you get comments that they say Pokemon's better. I was live once and someone was trying to argue with me that Pokemon's the best. I was like, yeah, Pokemon's fun, but I also like Digimon and Yu-Gi-Oh and things like this. And like they're like, oh, so you think Pokemon's? I was like, I never said I like Pokemon the best. I actually storyline wise, I think Digimon's got the better storylines.
Yeah.
I think Yu-Gi-Oh's got a better structure than Pokemon does. Don't mean I don't like Pokemon. I'm just saying, and it's like some people are so stuck in their ways, and they have to make an argument. And I quite often delve into like versus battles of certain superheroes, and people don't like what I have to say, even though I'm going off comic books. But yeah, people on TikTok are nuts. Like
Yeah.
I don't understand why people can't just let people be. I really don't. Do you have moderators for your lives for like those particular comments?
Yes, I have a somewhat solid team of moderators. Hopefully, they're not watching because I'm going to be brutally honest.
Right,
Now,
if you moderate for Ghost Galaxy Cosplay, please plug your fingers in your ears and hum a Christmas song for the foreseeable future.
So first off, I get that people are busy. They have lives. They can't always be there. But there are times where they slack so much, a comment that should have been instantly taken out just sits there, and the chat doesn't move, and it just sits there and it just stares at you. And it's like, you motherfucker, why would you call me that? You have no fucking evidence of that. And usually it's the other N word, not the N word, but the other N word.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
it just riles me up. But my head moderator, Mandy, she's Australian, and she's up at like 6:30 her time, pretty much just as the live stream is starting, like 9 p.m. our time, and she's in there moderating. She is a legend.
yeah. I have two moderators at the minute. One of them being my fiance, one of them being Possibly 67, and the the only the only time I go live is at night time when my fiance is asleep and Cosplay 267's in the middle of work. So my moderators are never around. And like I do have somewhat of a following. I do have some regulars that come into the lives and they're like, oh, you need like moderators. I'm like, yeah, I do. And they're like, oh, I'll moderate for you. And I'm sat there thinking, I don't know you from Adam, bro. I don't know you. You may just be nice just for they fucking me around. I don't know. So like I don't trust people. So like the people
Yeah.
who ask to be my moderators, I'm like, I don't know you, man. I ain't gonna allow you to be my moderator. I don't know what the fuck you're gonna do.
Yeah, 100%. You've definitely got to be careful when adding moderators. Um I also think the moderators need to have a certain sense of responsibility about them as well.
Yeah, agrees. Like, the my Discord server, which by the way, people will can join the Tiger Network server. I've opened it up to the public. There's a public section that people can join, and I was arguing with one person on TikTok for like a day. They kept on liking like every video they could find of mine, commenting on videos that are like 3 years old and shit. And I was like, "Yeah, you're just trying to make TikTok think I've got like a bot like messing me." So I blocked him, and instantly, within 10 seconds, I had 3 people join my Discord server. And I'm like, "Well, this doesn't look suspicious at all, does it?" So I'm like, they're all saying hello and stuff in the welcome section, and one of them I banned instantly because he said the N-word. And then he was like, "Hey, where's Ty Tiger at?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not trusting you." So I blocked him. He then joined again with a different account, blocked him again, and then one person was like, "Okay, there wasn't any need for that. I'm sure Ty doesn't agree with." I was like, "Yeah, no, I don't agree with the N word being thrown around that easy. Thank you very much." So like, I've allowed the other 2 people to stay in for now, but like, I am watching them like a hawk because I don't trust people.
Yeah, 100%. You have to be very stern with some people. I've had a few members leave my server because they don't like what I've said to them, because they I think what it is they try to see me as a friend and not as a content creator,
Yeah.
when I'm a content creator and I don't want to hear about what you're doing every second of every day, and nor does my community.
Yeah, see, like with my Discord server, it's kind of split into 2 sections. I've got the section open to all public; anyone can join. You know, I have lots of different YouTube accounts. I do different types of content. You know, if you want to mingle, chat about different stuff, crack on. That's all good. And then I have the other section of it where it's all my voice actors, and they're the people I trust. No one can access that side of it unless I give you that role, which I'm not going to give you that role unless you work for me in that sense. So, like, you know, all my voice actors I do trust. I talk to them daily. A lot of my voice actors I actually work with on the characters they play as and things. So like, I talk to these people a lot. And then like the people that I talk to on a daily basis, I have like a handful of them. Most of them are dads. That's one of the reasons why we talk all the time. They're like my moderators for the Discord server. I've given them the ability; they can block people, they can kick people. They basically have the power to delete my Discord server if they wanted to. They're not going to, obviously, but they have that power because I trust them. I talk to them 24/7. You know, so like, yeah, you definitely have to be careful on, you know, who you you know, talk to and stuff. Have you ever had like issues with people that you've gone live with when it comes to dualtating? Have you ever had like issues live with someone, or has that kind of been a good road so far?
Not personally, but we've had people in the community do stuff, and it baffles me how people can still be supporting these people that have done these things. And then there's just people that I have gone live with before, and I just can't stand. I don't like the vibe of them.
Yeah, that's I feel like that's also something that people can like take personally for no reason. Like, you know, I've mentioned before that I don't gel with a certain content creator or a certain music artist or something, and I just get badgered for it. And I'm like, well, I'm a human being with my own opinions. I'm allowed to like someone, dislike someone, not gel with someone if I want to.
Yeah. For me, if there is no like instant hit off, no instant like chemical reaction, let's say, I'm gonna find you boring, and I'm not gonna go live with you again. I'm not gonna duel you if there's no dual chemistry going on.
Oh yeah, of course, because like you said, you know, you're an entertainer using the Yu-Gi-Oh game or card game as your way of entertaining people, and if you're not comfortable in your live with the person, not only is that affecting you, but the people who truly like watching you, like myself, for example, we're going to instantly pick up on that. We're going to know that you're not enjoying yourself. And that's the worst type of content, is when people force themselves to do the content and you can tell the difference. And so, yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a blast to talk about, Yu-Gi-Oh! And, finding more about how you started up and everything. Maybe in 2025 you can come on and we can do like an episode just on Yu-Gi-Oh! GX and just, talk about the characters and the monsters and the story arcs and stuff. We can just break down Yu-Gi-Oh! GX from start to finish. I think that would be kind of cool.
It would definitely, yeah.
So where can people find you if they want to find you?
Okay, so on both TikTok and YouTube, please go to the YouTube first, because I am really trying to get that out there. But it's Ghost Galaxy Cosplay on both TikTok and YouTube. Same with Instagram, and then there's Ghost Galaxy Universe as my second Instagram account, which I don't tend to use much unless I go to a convention. On Twitch, it's twitch.tv/Dr. Soma Misawa. And that's all the platforms I have currently.
Yeah, man, awesome. Well, do you have like a set time frame of when you do your Dualtainer lives? Do you have like specific days and stuff?
So the set days currently are Wednesday at 9 p.m. UK time, Friday at 5 p.m. UK time, and Sunday at 4 p.m. UK time. And then if I've got extra time, extra days, I'll put a schedule out with like time zone with times that I can do. But mostly it's a Wednesday, a Friday, and a Sunday that I'm on live. Unless I've got like a day off and I'm just like randomly live. I've been trying to stream the Pokemon Pocket game that came out recently to TikTok, but it keeps crashing, so can't really do much about that.
I hate TikTok live gaming. It's a wank, man. I hate it to a passion. I don't understand how people can do it. It's such a heartache. It's such a ball ache to get it done. So yeah,
Yeah.
I understand that. Well, thank you guys for tuning in, of course, listening. I can vouch for Ghost here. He's he's very entertaining. He's an absolute blast. I've been following him for 2 years now, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a while. But thank you, bro, for coming on. It's been a blast chatting and stuff. And of course, guys, if you listen to us on your podcast platforms, don't forget to rate us or follow us or however the podcast platforms work. If you're going on the YouTube channel, don't forget to subscribe, of course. And yeah, that's us. Don't forget to roar with passion, everybody. We love you all. And of course, we shall see you guys next time.
This podcast is a production of the Three Ranger Bros Studios, in association with Zio to Hero, the podcast.